YouTube. Hey, Shalom, Israel. We the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Start out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. This is the Friday night Lashawn QADASH class where we teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth according to the Bible. You know what I mean, since 1969. I mean, something that your Christian pastors have shown time and time again that they're ill-equipped to do. I mean, that's why so much confusion. It's so much damn confusion in that Christian church. It's just good night. I mean, where do we begin? Where I can't tell you, you know what I mean? I can't tell you how many times I done talked to a brother or brothers and talked to brothers or you know what I mean, brothers might have had personal experiences where you in the Christian church and then you actually read the Bible and everything that you learned in the Christian church ain't even in the Bible. Like, you know, I mean, Christmas, I mean, and all your life, your aunties or your uncles then taught you that December 25th is Jesus' birthday, and that's why we celebrate Christmas whole time. It don't say nothing about that in the Bible. I mean, Easter and the Easter egg hunt and all of that, and none of that's in the Bible. What's up? If all right, that's fine. Now you good. Go ahead, handle that now. You take care of that when you get back. But I mean, all the things that you learn, Christmas, Easter, you know what I mean, which is a shalom, Yahabashim, Yahushua, Barakatah. I see you, mighty man, priest and officer, my Aisha out of Cincinnati, Ohio. You know what I mean? My nigga, boy. Hey, if you got any questions or comments, Baba Shah, feel free to put them in the chat and then we'll get into it. You know what I mean? But what you'll find out is in that Christian church, everything that you learn, the traditions, the feast days that they keep, the practices, you know what I mean, everything about the Christian church from Christmas all the way to you know what I mean, the stories. I'm saying stories for a reason, but everything that you learn in that Christian church, like it's just not. You'll find out that it's a lie. I mean, everything that you read about in the Christian, or you learn about, or you listen to in the Christian church, you find out not only is it a lie, but it's in direct opposition to the Bible, like the image of Christ. Let me just do this real quick, just for. Let's see. Good night. And this is a perfect example, right? Me Salaki as I share my screen. Make sure I like, share, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share with your loved ones on all of that. Whether you agree or disagree, share it with the hecklers, man. Y'all hecklers, I ain't gonna lie, y'all disappointing. I mean, y'all disappointing. I'm starting to think that, you know what I mean, what we think about y'all is true. I'd like to, you know what I mean, I'd like to think that y'all at least got a little bit of heart and that, you know what I mean, you stand on something, which is why you in such opposition to the priests and prophets of the Most High. I would like to think that you like to stand on something, you know what I mean? But maybe I'm wrong for trying to think so highly of you. Because all y'all showing me, y'all hecklers, all y'all showing me is that y'all cowards. You know what I mean? But so lucky. Bear with me just a second. But yeah, as I was saying, I mean, a lot of the thing that you learn in that Christian church, not only is it not in the Bible, not only is it not biblically accurate, but it's in direct opposition to what's actually in the Bible. I mean, like you look up what's it called? You look up Jesus Christ like I just did here. Oh wait, wrong. Look up Jesus Christ like I just did here. Yeah, I mean, you lock the door and everything. Okay, no sir. Okay, but you look up Jesus Christ in the Bible, or you look up Jesus Christ on Google, and every picture is gonna be this stringy hair, blue eyed, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? This stringy hair, blue eyed devil right here. Got all these depictions of Christ. Every depiction of Christ, you're gonna see this stringy hair, blue eyed, blonde haired devil, this brunette devil. You know what I mean? This right here, I believe this is the original painting of Caesar Borgia, or actually, let me see. I believe that's a more direct depiction of Caesar Borgia. But you know what I mean, you look up Jesus Christ on Google, and it's going to give you the direct opposite of what the Bible teaches about. You read Revelation, the first chapter, or what is it? Yeah, Revelation, the first chapter, and it'll tell you that Christ had blonde hair, or not blonde hair. Good night, Jesus Christ. Christ had woolly hair. You know what I mean, white in color and wool in texture. But this looked like, you know what I mean, this ain't that description. And then it says his feet are like brass that was burned in the furnace. Do this look like brass that was burned in the furnace? But when you go into that Christian church, what you'll realize is that a lot of the things, not only do they not teach the Bible, not only is it a show, a song and dance, but a lot of things that you learn in that Christian church is in direct opposition to the Bible, which is why we've been teaching the truth according to the Bible since 1969, that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the true chosen Israelites, the true people of the Most High God, according to the Bible. You know what I mean? Where that you can actually learn about the Bible, and you can actually get the truth about who you are. Because let Christianity tell you, the problem with Christianity is they'll give you this. They'll give you, let me share this again. They'll give you this stringy hair, you know what I mean, devil to look up to. They give you this image to look up to as the image of Christ. But then at the same time, you learn that your ancestors, the beginning of your history started with slavery. You know what I mean, you learn about the transatlantic slave trade, which they're trying to turn into the transatlantic migration. You know what I mean, over the years, they try to dumb down. I just saw something. I just saw a video of a sister asking her child what she learned in school, and she said she learned about Rosa Parks. They said Rosa Parks was arrested because she didn't give up her seat to an old man. Yeah, that's crazy. Whole time, the reason why she was arrested was because in that time, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, if you was riding public transit, what they had you do was you had to get on a bus. I don't know if you see a bus, right? It has two doors for those who never take a public transit. But they got the front door, and then you had to go through the front door to pay your money, to pay your fare at the front, and then you had to get off the bus and go to the back door and get on at the back door and sit in the back if you was black, Hispanic, or Native American. And sometimes they would take your money, and then you would get off the bus, and then they would pull off on you and drive off with your money. You know what I mean? So the reason why Rosa Parks was arrested was because uh, she refused to give up her seat to a white man. That's what happened because of those laws, because of those Jim Crow laws, because of the you know what I mean, because of the segregation, because of the segregated laws that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans had to suffer under in those times. You know what I mean? So that's the whole. But once you take away the truth of the story, once your oppressor starts to revamp the stories, then it diminishes, you know what I mean, the whole history, right? Right. I Tanya, I see you, Tanya. Allah Shalom, Yahabashim, Yahshua Brakatah. You're exactly right. You know what I mean? In these images, there ain't a drop of brass in this dog that they got. Good night. Look at this. Jesus Christ. This is a PDF file, if I ever did see one. You know what I mean? But this is the depiction. This is scary. Right here, this is terrifying. The blue-eyed, blonde, you know what I mean, brunette devil depicted as Christ. Not a drop of brass. The Bible says something the opposite, and that's what that's what America does to our history. You know what I mean? You look at what it like Donald Trump. I mean, when he first got into office for his second term, the first order of business for him as president was to remove the history of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Us fighting in wars, us in political positions, which we shouldn't be joining the military or the in politics of our oppressor anyway. But the point is, his whole mission at the start of his second term of presidency was to get rid of the history of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the rich history that we have in this country, and us and our belonging in this country. You know what I mean? They got rid of the freedom, the Harlem Hellfighters, the Tuskegee Airmen, and their tombstones. You know what I mean? Got rid of them. I believe on the wall, they had like their names carved. Uh, they got rid of the names. What you got, Aitazah?
No, it's so heavy what you bringing out because it's one thing, like you said, the history that they gave us, that they let us build in America.
Mhm.
That's not even our true history. So our true history was in the records of the Bible and everything. They lied to us about that, and we had to create a whole new history. And now they trying to get rid of the history that we did create. It seems like they trying to just put us. It basically, man, they want us to be extinct and all in all because not just heavy what you bring out. That's what come to mind, man.
Not kind. And what you said was so heavy because even like you said, like the the history that we've created in America was due to us. You know what I mean? Our history starting with slavery. So we had to create history. We had to create a new history. You know what I mean? But the problem is, just like they erased the history of what Christ actually looked like in the Bible, is the same reason why they erase your history of the accolades and the great feats that you accomplished in Esau's military, in their police force, in their politics, you know what I mean, in their school system, is because your reflection of who the Bible says you are, like your existence in America, and you thrive. And they used to, Cap said something heavy, Cap Yatazak, man. He said, they imagine a people, they used to cut your face off and wear it. You know what I mean? They used to cut our skin off and make it furniture. They used to, you know what I mean, they buck breaking, you know what I mean, violating and ravaging our men in front of the strong man, in front of the entire family, in front of all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They tried to genocide us, stole the land. They violated our women. They cut the babies out the stomach and stomped on the babies, used the babies as alligator bait, hung us, lynched us. You know what I mean? Still to this day, they got sundown towns. You know what I mean? Every black, Hispanic, and Native American successful uh, uh town that we built, you know what I mean, about 50 years removed from slavery. You know what I mean, they burned to the ground, or flooded, or destroyed, or robbed, or pillaged, or finessed us out of what we had. All of those different things, and they look at us in that history that they have tried to put on us in America, and they look at us and be like, "Damn, they not broken." We still say black is beautiful. After all of that, we say black is beautiful. So when they see us and they know the history, the cruel history of our oppressor toward blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and they see that, damn, they didn't try to destroy us, and we still not broken. We still think black is beautiful. We still love ourselves and love, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. We still love our. We still here. You know what I mean. It's just proof. It's just proof positive that they are not the people of the Bible. And the more that they put us through shows that we are the people of the Bible and they are not. You know what I mean? Go ahead to if you could, give me Revelations chapter 2 and verse 9 real quick. But them erasing your history from the Bible, or not your history from the Bible, them erasing your history from, you know what I mean, American history, and them erasing your knowledge of who you are according to the Bible, and them being so cruel to you, it's a, you know what I mean, they trying to make you forget. They trying to remove who you are according to the Bible. They're trying to remove your history, your rich history. But them doing that and us still prevailing, everything that we go through, everything that they put us through, them attempting to genocide us and destroy us and failing, it's just a testament that we actually are the children of the Bible, the children of the Most High God, that the Most High God chose to be a special people above all people on the face of the earth. Go ahead, read what you got.
The book of Revelations, chapter 2, verse 9. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich.
So this is the Most High said, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. You know what I mean? He knows that we in tribulation. He know that we in suffering. You know what I mean? Under these other nations and the poverty that we got to suffer under these other nations. But we're rich. I mean, we got something that's, you know what I mean? We richer than any, you know what I mean, any dollar bill that go in the Donald Trump pocket. We richer than any dollar bill that could build, you know what I mean, America's wealth. I mean, we richer than any wealth gap that your oppressor can put on blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans and all of that. Because we got something that can't be taken away. We got the birthright. We got the covenant that the Most High made with blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans and nobody else. Go ahead. But he knows another thing too. He knows you, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and your condition here, and he knows something else. Go ahead.
And I know the blasphemy.
The blasphemy is a lie. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
The blasphemy of them which say they are Jews.
So these people say they are Jews. Like, you got it on your phone. I'm about to switch. But he knows the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews. Go ahead. You see this image of Christ? You know what I mean? They say that this man right here was a Jew. You know what I mean? You go to the Diamond District, you go to you know what I mean, Gaza, the Gaza Strip, you go to anywhere where you see this shield of David, which we're gonna get to in a second. You know what I mean? They say that they the Jews. Go ahead.
And are not.
So the more they try to take your culture, and bury you in your history in America, the more that they show that they are not those people. You know what I mean? You get the point? The more that they try to cover your history and destroy you and try to wipe you off of the face of the earth and try to, you know what I mean, impoverish you and mass deport you and genocide you. And then the more that they try to put on your culture, try to erase the history, the more that they show that they are not the children of the Most High God. And that's the reason why they're trying to erase the history, because they didn't did so much diabolical things to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And you know what I mean? Now they don't even want to teach it in school. They did so much to us. Like, it's embarrassing for them. Like, they're ashamed of it. They're ashamed of their own history. They'll never stop. You know what I mean? The shame won't make them stop oppressing you. It won't make them stop destroying you and robbing you and genociding you and mass deporting you and persecuting you. It's not going to make them stop. But it does make them try to erase your history. And them trying to erase your history constantly is just proof positive that they are not these people. But they are the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not. But what?
But are the synagogue of Satan.
You're not the Lord's chosen people. If you're not a black, Hispanic, and Native American, you're not the Lord's chosen people. You're not the Jews. But you're the synagogue of Satan. You know what I mean? You do the work of Satan. You know what I mean? You persecute the children of the Lord. You tempt the children of the Lord. You know what I mean? You are going to be what the Lord uses to show his power in the earth, just like he did Pharaoh in Egypt. You know what I mean? Your oppressor, the so-called white man who is the devil the Bible speaks of, they are going to be what the Most High uses to show his power in the earth, and that he is with blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You know what I mean? But that's why that's why we teach these classes 7 days a week. You know what I mean? You got any questions or anything, you guys put them in the chat. You can get your questions answered and your problem solved. And morning, noon, and night, you can hit that QR code in that top corner and hit that chat and ask all your questions in there. And there'll be a brother in that chat that solve all your problems and answer all your questions. Right? Speaking of, you had a question. You mind just asking your question again? It was about the okay. It was about the stones or stone. What was it? What did you say earlier? So
I
I
was
can
like whenever somebody asked me like, well, how you know the Bible was real, or how you know it was written in Hebrew and all this and that, I was like, you believe that the pyramids that you found, the pyramids have the ancient letters and everything stoned in it. So how can't you not believe that the holy tablets in the Hebrew that was carved in when they found the tablets and everything is real, but you can believe in the Egyptians and all the stuff that they put out. You know what I'm saying? Like Egypt is still here today.
Mm-hmm. Damn. No, that's heavy too, because like you said, like we ain't got no problem. Like when they tell us that we African American and we come from Africa and this, that, and the third, like we don't got no problem believing that. We don't got no problem. Like, are you good? But we ain't got no problem just believing that. Oh, we African Americans. We don't got a problem calling ourselves Puerto Rican and Dominicans and Haitians, and we ain't got no problem. You know what I mean? Calling ourselves by these names and going putting on a dashiki. They say you from Africa. You know what I mean? Which is where they say, let America tell it. They say that's where your history starts. But we ain't got a problem with like, oh, I'm from Africa, or I'm African, I'm African American. No sweat, we go and get the red, yellow, and or what is it? The red, yellow, and green headband, the red, yellow, and green dashiki. We go out and get an ankh and put it on our chest. We go out and get the little, the pharaoh headdress and things like that. We ain't got no problem taking what our oppressor says about us for face value. I mean, even when it comes to the crimes that was committed in America, we ain't got no problem taking the statistics that your oppressor tells on himself. You go to the FBI website and the DOJ website, it'll tell you the statistics of who the real criminals is, let alone history. You go into history and you see who was the spearhead of the Trail of Tears, who was the spearhead of the transatlantic slave trade, who, did more unalive and pillaging in the earth, than your oppressor. But your oppressor tells you that you make up 13% of the population, but you make up, I forget what the percentage is, like 50% of the violent crimes in America. We ain't got no problem taking that for face value. We ain't got no problem when your oppressor tells you that you're an African, taking that for face value. You know what I mean? But this right here, what you're looking at on the screen is the ancient, like, give me, as a matter of fact, give me this. See if I can find it real quick. It's in Revelation somewhere. Most on Christ. Go to Revelations 12. Let's see. Go to Revelations 12 and 15. But that's the problem. Like, we don't have a problem taking what our oppressor says for face value. But then when we brothers and sisters come to the truth and say, Christ was a black man. We need to follow these laws, statutes, and commandments. And we come from the nation of Israel, which was a man named Jacob, a black man whose name was changed to Israel, who was a progenitor of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and that we are these people according to the Bible. And this is a history book, and this, that, and the third. And Holy Bible is separate records. You say that to a brother, and they got now all of a sudden they need all types of proof. When your oppressor said that you're the most violent and dangerous person in the earth, you didn't need no proof for that. You didn't need no confirmation for that. But all of a sudden, when we tell you that you mean something, you know what I mean? You got value, black man, Hispanic man, Native American man. Now all of a sudden you need all sorts of proof. And even when you get the proof, it's like, well, I need some time. I need I can't just take it for face value. All of a sudden now you got now you need proof. Now you need, man, get out of here, man. Get out of here. Go ahead, read what you got.
Kind of one kind. The book of Revelations, chapter 12, verse 15. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
See, this right here, see, the book of Revelations, you know what I mean, if you don't already know, the book of Revelations is a book of visions from John the Revelator. And he's, you know what I mean, which means everything that you seeing in Revelations, it's metaphorical. It's one thing being a representation for another. You know what I mean? I believe the precept for that is in the Apocrypha. But everything that you seeing in these dreams and these revelations and these visions that John is having, it's one thing in relation to the other. And the serpent, read it from the top again, and I'm gonna be flipping back and forth between these artifacts too. So if you got it on your phone, that's why we'll read it from.
Book of Revelations, chapter 12, verse 15. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
So who is the serpent? I mean, you might recognize this serpent from Genesis. I believe it's either the second or third chapter. Go ahead.
I was gonna say someone from another nation.
More specifically though.
Heathen, like Edomites.
The Edomites. That's your oppressor. You know what I mean? The most subtle beast of the field, like it says in Genesis, the second chapter. He was the most subtle beast of the field. Right? This serpent is a man, you know what I mean? Like it talks about in Obadiah, the book of Obadiah. It identifies who your oppressor is. Oh, Mount Seir. Mount Seir is the habitation of Esau, which is the progenitor of white people. And the serpent, your oppressor, you know what I mean, in his empire, cast out of his mouth water. This water is this flood as a flood after the woman. This water as a flood after the woman is talking about your oppressor's ability to lie. I mean, your oppressor lives by the sword and he has an ability to lie. I mean, that's why everything he teaches you is a lie. I mean, like we was talking about earlier, but your oppressor he'll you know what I mean, he'll put you through the transatlantic slave trade and then call it a transatlantic migration, as if we came over here willingly. You know what I mean, as indentured servants, which is not true. Or they'll, you know what I mean, they'll beat and arrest Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and then when they retell the story, they'll say, "Oh, Rosa Parks was arrested for not giving up her seat to an old man." You know what I mean, or how we'll fight in their wars, and it will be the reason. You know what I mean, the I forget what they call it, the Native Americans, the Wind Talkers, I believe. You know what I mean, or the Harlem Hellfighters, the Tuskegee Airmen. You know what I mean, will be the reason why your oppressor wins all the wars that they've won, and then when it comes time to retell the story, they'll lie and say that you know what I mean, they'll just erase your history of your valor from the history books and from headstones and from you know what I mean, museums. Right? That was Trump's first order of business, because your oppressors, a lot of his fighting comes from him lying, his lies. You know what I mean? A lot of his oppression, a lot of his, you know what I mean, the things that he does to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, it starts with a lie. You know what I mean? Ask the Native Americans in the transatlantic, or the Trail of Tears. You know what I mean? Or the Native Americans in 1492. All the peace treaties that your oppressor signed with Native Americans and broke them. Starts with a lie. The 40 acres and a mule that they promised to so-called African Americans, and then we never received it. Lie. You know what I mean, go ahead.
Go to 16.
No, that he might cause it to be carried.
That he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
So the whole point of this flood, the whole point of your oppressor lying on your history and your origin, in not only in this country, but in the Bible and in just in the history of the world, is that you can be, like it says in Psalms 83, that there be no more remembrance of the name of Israel. Right? That's the whole point. That you, which is the woman, might be carried away with the flood. You know what I mean, that's the whole point. Your oppressor lies to get you carried away, to wash away your history, to wash away, you know what I mean, your rich history, like we just read in Revelation, the second chapter. All right, go ahead, verse 16.
Kanawakan, verse 16. And the earth helped the woman.
See, your oppressor lies so much that the only way for the truth to be revealed, a lot of times the reason why we know that the history of the Tuskegee Airmen, of the Harlem Hellfighters, I mean, the reason why we know about the truth of what happened with uh uh what's it called? You know what I mean? The Russian icons is because of the earth. The earth helps the woman because you leave it up to your oppressor, and you know what I mean. You look a couple like a decade or two down the line, and they're going to try to erase your history. You know what I mean, it's gonna be. I don't want to say it's gonna be hard, but they're gonna try to make it harder to teach your history. But the reason why we know about these things is verbal history. Like my great grandfather was a Tuskegee Airman. You know what I mean? So you just talk to, you know what I mean? A lot of the things that we know about ourselves and our history in America is through oral tradition because your oppressor is cruel to you and then he lies about it. But the earth helps the woman. You know what I mean? The earth is what helps Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That's why, you know what I mean, America, Trump was so angry when Vladimir Putin revealed the Russian icons, you know what I mean, which we got all over the wall in these schools. You know what I mean? Which is why your oppressor hates the fact that what we do in the ISUBK and you know what I mean, the school and the feast days and the cookouts is only for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Because without that oral tradition, without the tradition that we keep in the school, without all of these different things, without these artifacts coming out, without like what we were looking at right here, without these things, your oppressor will be able to just tell you anything. And we'll have no recollection or history of who we actually are. But this is an example of, let me share this as well. Let me see if I can find it. You know what I mean? Artifacts like the Temple of Capernaum, you know what I mean, which has not only carvings of, you know what I mean, ancient Hebrew, but they have carvings of, you know what I mean, I believe there was I just saw it a second ago, it was a menorah, right, which was in our what's it called? Our what's it called? Ark of the Covenant, you know what I mean? Uh and which is, you know what I mean, the Feast of Dedication. You can't see it right now, but in the Feast of Dedication, we light the menorah. You know what I mean, uh it also has the shield of David, which you're again. That's another thing that they lied about, where they try to relate where they try to relate this shield right here, which is the seal of Zion. They try to relate this to the star of Remphan, which you know, what I mean, there's nothing that you can find about Remphan or Chien or Saturn, which are all, you know, what I mean, I believe are one and the same. There's nothing that you can see that relates that, which relates Tien or Riffin or these false idols to this shield. You know what I mean? But that's another. That's part of it. That's part of it. Where they lie. They lie about everything about you. But the earth. Read that again from the top.
Kanawakan, and the earth helped the woman,
Uh huh.
and the earth opened her mouth.
Right. The earth opened her mouth. That means these artifacts are being found. The Los Lunes Decalogue stones. The Temple of Capernaum ruins. The what's it called? It's another one. I can't remember what it is. It'll come to me later. But all of these artifacts where you see the ancient Hebrew carved into these stones, that's the earth helping a woman. And the earth opened up her mouth. Go ahead.
Kanawakan, and swallowed up the flood
Uh-huh.
which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
So you remember what I said about the flood, right? And anybody in the chat as well. I mean, if you got an answer, if you remember what we said about the flood previously, go ahead and put it in the chat. Well, what does the flood out of the dragon's mouth represent?
How swift the oppressor is, how swift he lies and changes history. The flood, like it.
Yeah, his ability to lie. I mean, so the earth helped the woman, right? You remember who the woman is, right? It's us. It's the nation of Israel. I mean, and the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened up her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. So if the earth helped the woman and the earth opened up her mouth and swallowed up the flood, what's the earth doing?
Being destroyed,
Lie. Stay with the just lock in
being
with the
flooded,
metaphor.
being flooded with lies.
But the earth is opening up her mouth and swallowing up the flood.
It's feeding into the lies. It's getting fed lies.
Swallowing up the flood?
Swallowing up.
So the earth or the flood was cast to the woman to, you know what I mean, to destroy the woman in an attempt to destroy the woman, right? And the earth is swallowing it up. I'll give you a second. Anybody in the chat as well, I'll give you a second. If it wasn't for the earth swallowing up the flood, read verse 15 again.
Kanawakan. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
So that's his ability to lie. And he's casting this out after the woman. For what purpose? Go ahead.
That he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
So the whole point is to carry away this woman with the flood of lies that he's casting out of his mouth. But the earth helped the woman. Go ahead.
Verse 16. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon casted out of his mouth.
You remember what I said about the earth helping the woman?
Kanawakan.
Go ahead, break it down.
Said the earth helping the woman.
He's right there on the screen. All right, no sweat. It's a lot. It's a lot here. But let me go back to it. The earth helping a woman is what you see on that wall over there. Yeah, the Russian icons where everybody thinks that every man, King David, King Solomon, you know what I mean, the prophets, the color of Christ, you know what I mean, everybody thinks that Christ looked like this. And they think that his prophets and his apostles and, you know what I mean, the people that he rode with look like this or similar to this. You know what I mean, or they'll say that he's a Middle Eastern man. That's the flood of the dragon. That's the lies that your oppressor tells. But if it wasn't for those Russian icons, if it wasn't for Revelation, the first chapter, telling you the color of Christ, then we would be swallowed up. We would be carried away by these lies. That's why every black Christian church has this white image of Jesus, this blue-eyed devil on their wall, even though this oppressor is the one that's responsible for the things that Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans go through. But if it wasn't for the earth helping a woman, the what's it called? The Russian icons, the Los Lunas Decalogue stone, the I wish I could remember the other one. The let me see if I can find it. But if it wasn't for these, If it wasn't for not only the history in the Bible, but the things that reveal the color and the ethnicity, the history in the Bible that ties us to the people in the Bible, the children that the Most High chose, then we'll be carried away with those lies. That's the earth opening up and swallowing up the flood, because we looking at it right now. What what is who is this? Let me see. Let me ask you something. Who is this? Yeah.
That's Caesar Borgia.
How you know that though? Because this is I looked up Jesus Christ. If you ask Google, this is Jesus Christ. So Salakia. How you know that's Salakia?
Due to Leonardo da Vinci artifacts.
Come artifacts and yeah, artifacts. You got the history in the Bible. The earth is helping a woman. That's how you know that no matter whenever you see this, because anybody you ask a Christian that same question, who is this? They're gonna say, oh, that's Jesus. That's my Jesus. In the name of Jesus, they're gonna fall out. They're gonna. You ever see in at camp where we have the picture of Caesar Borgia on the ground? People refuse to step on it. We slam it, we stomp on it, we throw it around. You know what I mean? And they'll have a fit because they really in their mind think that this is Jesus Christ. The reason why they think this is because of the flood that the serpent cast out of his mouth, the dragon cast out of his mouth to carry away blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, to make us forget who we are. But the only reason why you can look at this image and know that this ain't Jesus Christ, that this is Caesar Borgia, is because the earth is helping a woman. Because it's hard to lie about the color of Christ when you digging up the Russian icons and it's a whole bunch of black people. It's hard to lie about the, you know what I mean, who the disciples was and who King David was and the color of Christ and the, you know what I mean, and who the real Jews are. It's hard to lie about who the real Jews are when you start to see the history come up. It's hard to say that, like Christopher Columbus, he said that he discovered America. It's hard to say that you discovered America and that you was the first person to set foot on America when he traveled to America with a Hebrew scholar, Louis de Torres, to translate for people that spoke Hebrew. It's hard for you to say that you discovered America and that you was the first one here when you had an interaction with people that was already here. And the Bible says that we came here first. It's hard to lie. You can't lie about these things and it stand up when the earth. That's what this is talking about. It's hard to lie and your lies still hold weight like they've had for the past, 400 years when you got the earth helping you. The earth is proving the white man to be a devil. You know what I mean? The water is proving the white man to be a devil. You know what I mean? The stones, the trees, the wind, you know what I mean? The tempest, the whirlwinds, the you know what I mean? All of these different the tornadoes and volcanoes. You know what I mean? All of these things are proving your oppressor to be the devil the Bible speaks of. So as they try to lie and try to paint themselves to be innocent, they try to erase your history like Donald Trump is doing. The earth is helping the woman. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing with the language as well. Go to let's see. Do I want to go to that? Go to that book down there. And hand me, if you could, pick up that black and white biblical Hebrew textbook and hand me that pictorial Bible dictionary. The water. No, go to page, I believe it's 3. Can't remember. See, 3 or 8. Let me know what page 3 says. So we just read in Revelations the 2nd chapter, and it says the same thing in Revelations. While you grabbing that, we'll go to Revelation the 3rd chapter. All right, and let me know what you got.
The Hebrew alphabet is the oldest in the world, still in use today.
Uh huh.
Our own alphabet is a descendant of it by a circuitous route.
So this
The,
is talking about, like we just read in Revelations 2 and 9. We'll read this in Revelations 3 and 9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. I mean, Revelations 2 and 9 say the same thing, that there is a people on this earth that claim to be Jews and they're not. You know what I mean? So we already know that the people that claim to be Jews, the Jewish man, you know what I mean, in the Diamond District in, you know what I mean, New York, and that's the head of every, what you looking for? Oh, you got it. As a matter of fact, don't worry about it. Just deal with that one. But you know what I mean, you already know that there is a people that claim to be the Jews, and it's saying that those people that claim to be the Jews are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come to worship before thy feet, and know that I have loved thee. You know what I mean, all of this that we're seeing in the Bible, all these prophecies, even the punishment, even the curses, is all pertaining to getting Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to come back to our culture and identity according to the Bible, and exposing your oppressor to be a liar that he is. Go ahead, read what you got. So if they're not the Jews, and it's a whole bunch of white people running around saying that they Jews, and we just read, you know, in Revelation, the first chapter, that Christ was a black man who was the king of the Jews. You know what I mean, King David, King Solomon, like it says in the book of Solomon, chapter 1, I believe, verse 10, says, I am black, but comely. You know what I mean? He said the Jews are black. I mean, Jeremiah, I believe is, what is it? Jeremiah 14. It says, uh, Judah mourneth in the gaster of languish. 14 and 2, kind of the water. Says, Judah mourneth in the gaster of languish. They are black unto the ground. You know what I mean, the Jews are black. And there's a people that are lying and saying that they're Jews. So you know that the liars are the oppressor, the so-called white man. You know what I mean, who's putting on this culture and pretending they're the Jews. All right. So if they're liars and they're not the Jews, then what does it say about the language? Go ahead.
And the text of the Hebrew Bible we use today reflects several periods of development. Originally, the continents were used by the time of the Israel kingdoms. Some continents, Yah, Wah, Ha, were used to indicate certain vowels.
Mm-hmm. So when you hear the language of your oppressor, when they or not the language of your oppressor, but when your oppressor claims to teach and read and write and speak the Hebrew, you know that the version of Hebrew that they teach and read and write and speak is a lie, because originally only the consonants was used. I mean, there was no vowels, but your oppressor, they aleph, bet. You know what I mean? Instead of saying shalom, they say shalom. Instead of saying tawab, it's tab. You know what I mean? It's, you know what I mean, all of the things, you know what I mean, all of the things, you just see it, you know what I mean? And that's the whole point. All of these things are being revealed that your oppressor is not who they say he is. And all of these things come together, and all of these things help Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans realize, like, not only are they lying about who they say that they are, but we are who they're trying to pretend to be. You know what I mean, they say that they're the Jews, but they are not. The Jews are in tribulation and are in poverty. Your oppressor, you know what I mean, a Jewish man, he's not in poverty in the Diamond District. He runs you could name any industry. You know what I mean? You name any industry, the music industry, the you know what I mean, the sex industry, the jewelry industry, the banking industry, I mean, you name any industry in this earth under in your oppressor's kingdom, and you know what I mean, the so-called Jewish man, he's the head of it. But the Bible just said, let me go back to it, Revelations 2. The Bible just said that lock you. The Bible just said that I know that works and tribulation and poverty. It says that the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native, they say that the Jews are in in tribulation, right? Your oppressor is not in tribulation or in poverty. They are rich and well off. And if your oppressor is poor and in poverty, it's by choice. And it don't take nothing but, a phone call for them to get up out of that situation. There's nobody that you can call. When you can't pay your rent, when you can't you can't get a loan from a bank, there's nobody that you can call to be a co-signer for you, black man, Hispanic man, Native American man. There's nobody that's gonna be able to spot you, $1,200 to cover your rent for your tiny 1 bedroom apartment in New York. You know what I mean? $2,000-3,000. There's nobody that can spot you for your car note or your phone bill or your electric bill. There's nobody that you can call to be able to be a lifeline to you because we all in the same condition. But your oppressor, they in tribulation, quote unquote, they got any tribulations or hardships or poverty, they could just call their father. You know what I mean? You see those homeless people in the you see those homeless people in in those tent cities in Austin, or you see, homeless people in your neighborhood, in your hood, sleeping on the floor outside. They can be back on their feet with one phone call. With one haircut. All it takes is a quick little trim, you know what I mean, for them to get a hold of a suit and they could walk in anywhere and get a job, and your oppressor is gonna put them back on their feet. Meanwhile, you can have all the qualifications, all the degrees, all of the this, that, and the third, the nicest suit, the nicest watch. You could be the most qualified. You can fight in your oppressor's military and get all these accolades and win every war for them. And then when you get home, your oppressor's going to beat you blind. You know what I mean? Which shows that they are not these people that they claim that they are, because the Jews, once again, are in tribulation and impoverished. Uh, Put this on the screen if you. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can. Now that's the developments like what you read in what was that, the biblical Hebrew workbook and textbook. It was talking about how the modern Hebrew that we use today is the Hebrew um Hebrew that went through several periods of development. And this what you seeing, like, let me see that. What you seeing on the screen is, like, it shows all the periods of development that the Hebrew went through. Because the original Hebrew, the Paleo Hebrew, which is the ancient Hebrew, it was pictographs, like we went over last week. We went over Abba Gada Hawa Zakata Yaka Lama Nasa I Pata Zakwa Rashata. We went through all the pictographs and the words that's associated with each pictograph. Afa Alat Ba Bayath Ga Gamal Da Dalath Ha Hana, or how Hana. Uh Wa was Wal Za Zayan Ka Kawamata Tanaa Ya Yad Ka Kap La Lamad Ma Mayan Na Nawan. All the words that's associated with each pictograph. And that's the ancient Hebrew. But the modernized Hebrew, the modern Hebrew, is went through is a reflection, of the periods of development, which, like it says, what's it called? It says, so you got the ancient Hebrew at the beginning, and then the Phoenician, uh, the what is it? Samaritan Hebrew, uh, Egyptian. We had a different version of Hebrew that we, or not a different version, but different penmanship that we wrote in our Hebrew captivity. Uh, Assyrian, and then you get to the modern or Assyrian Hebrew, which is what we use or what you see in a lot of documents, or like the you go to Bible Hub, Blue Letter Bible, you go to the concordance, and that's what you're gonna see. You're gonna see the Assyrian Hebrew. But that's what you got depicted right here in the so all of these things line up. You read in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, you read it in the Biblical Hebrew Workbook and Textbook, you read Revelations 2:9, Revelations 3:9, Revelations 1:14. You look in Jeremiah 14:2. You look at all these different scriptures, all of these different artifacts, how the earth is helping the woman. Helping Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans be able to reclaim our identity. You know what I mean? All of these things are lining up. And not only are all of these things lining up and showing that we are the actual Jews according to the Bible, but it's showing that your oppressor is an imposter and a liar. You know what I mean? That's what all these things are showing. You know, everything, all of those things that I just mentioned, is showing that what they try to say is the Jews, who they try to say is the Jews, or who they try to say is the Lord's chosen people. You know what I mean, is an absolute lie. That's the earth helping the woman. Yeah, I mean, I hope that I know we kind of got off the rails of your question, but I hope that I hope that helps you. Uh, let's go to Jeremiah, no, not Jeremiah 14, or it's like it Jeremiah 6:16, real quick.
Another one come. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 6, verse 16. Thus said the Lord, stand ye in the ways, and see, and ask for the old paths.
Right. So this is what we're doing right now, because the new thing that your oppressor want to teach you, the new paths that you learning in America and about your history and your culture, as they're trying to erase and change your history. You know what I mean, the new thing that you learning is lies. But read that from the top again.
Con. Thus said the Lord, stand ye in the ways.
So there's so many different ways that you could go. You can be a Muslim, you can be a Christian, you could be a Catholic, you can be a Jewish man like Amari Stoudemire. You know what I mean, you can be all of these different things. You can be what's the word? You know what I mean, what Cap say? You say you could be trans spiritual, where you can. That's really when people say that they spiritual, they just do whatever. It just means that they just do what the hell they want. That's all. Like when people say people take, you know what I mean, disobedience, they take recklessness and try to make it magical. You know what I mean, you live a reckless life. You out here getting high when you want. When you don't feel like getting high, you don't get high. You sleep with whoever you want to. When you decide that you want to dabble in LGBTQ or you want to be bi, then that's what you do. If you want to sleep with a woman, you sleep with a woman. If you want to sleep with a man, you sleep with a man. You know what I mean? If you want to sleep with, you know what I mean, these other nations, you want to sleep with a white woman or a white man, that's what you do. And when you decide that you want to sleep with you choose only black people, then you do that. And then sometimes, you know what I mean, like you decide that you like everybody that decide. This is what I notice about like people in the world who say that they you know what I mean, everybody pro black and blackity black and Black Lives Matter and all of that. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, we gotta buy black. We gotta you know what I mean, we gotta bring back a black household. We this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? We gotta get our minds right and stop getting, and then as soon as you decide, like that only lasts until you decide that you wanna, you know what I mean, you wanna do it in moderation. You wanna sleep with your oppressors, women and men in moderation. You wanna be an LGBTQ in moderation. You know what I mean? It's all these different paths that you can go down, all these different ways that you could be. You could be trans spiritual, you can be Hindu, Buddhist, Kemet, you know what I mean? You could be all of these different things. But the most I said, read that from the top again.
Con. Thus said the Lord, stand ye in the ways, and see.
So see all these ways, right? Go ahead.
And ask for the old paths.
And ask for the old paths. Because you know what the earth is helping a woman? That's the old paths helping you. Where, you know what I mean, Christ ain't got no color, that's new. But Revelations 1:14 is the old paths. You know what I mean? The Los Lunas Decalogue stone. You know what I mean? The Jewish man in the synagogues right now with the hats and the yarmulkes and the curly cues on the side, that's new. But the what's on the Los Lunas Decalogue stone and the you know what I mean, what's carved into the temple of Capernaum, that's the old paths. You know what I mean? The vows being imposed on the Hebrew language, that's new. But Abagada Hawaza Khata Yaka Lama Nasai Patizakwa Rashata, that's old. Those are the old paths. And that's the paths that the Most High told you to choose. Go ahead.
Con. And ask for the old paths where it is the good way.
Where's the good way? And that's the good way. You know what I mean? And you see how good it is. You know what I mean? When you find out, well, at one point you thought that there was, you know what I mean, you was nobody. You was nothing. That's what you was led to believe, that you was nothing and you was nobody. You ain't have no culture, and your culture started with American slavery, which they constantly change in the Hebrew or not Hebrew in the history books. You know what I mean? Where at first it was a transatlantic slave trade, and now it's a transatlantic migration, and now you was an indentured servant, and you learned all the skills that you learned or that you have today from being in slavery. So, which makes you praise your oppressor, you know what I mean, your slave master. You start to look at him like your white savior, and then what do? They make Jesus God. Not only do they make Jesus God, but they make him a white man. So now your God is white, and he taught you everything that you know. When that is a lie, you know what I mean. These new paths, they teach you something new every day. They teach you something new about who you are, your history. They teach you a new lie. But the old paths is the good way, where you find out Jesus was a black man, that the Hebrew is a Lashawn QADASH, a holy tongue, a separate tongue for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and how to speak it without vowels. We don't say shalom, we say shalom. You know what I mean? And how it's used in the Bible. You know what I mean? You start to see King David, King Solomon, you know what I mean? Christ, Elijah, you know what I mean? Moses, Noah. All of these people were black men, not white men, like they try to depict. That's the good way. Go ahead.
Khan, where's the good way, and walk therein.
Walk therein. Why? Go ahead.
And ye shall find rest for your souls.
Yeah, black people don't got very much rest for their souls because I mean, you don't. Again, we was taught that we was nothing. We was taught that we didn't have a culture. We don't have an identity. We don't have a foundation of who we are as a people. We don't have nothing. That's what we was taught. We was taught that we just garbage. You know what I mean? Our history started with slavery, and that, you know what I mean, we that causes us to be restless. You know what I mean, where you see your oppressor uh oppressing you, robbing you, unaliving you, mass deporting, mass incarcerating you every single day. You know what I mean, putting a boot on your neck, they knee on your neck, and taking your life and oppressing you day in and day out. You know what I mean? Taking your life and then getting away with it, whether it's the police force, military, or just an oppressor with a gun. You see all of these things, how they just trying to get rid of you. And then they turn around and tell you that you the most violent person in this earth. That you only make up 13% of the population, but you commit over 50% of the violent crime in America, which is an absolute lie. Every single violent crime in America, your oppressor is the spearhead of it. Whether it's unaliving, whether it's uh child abuse, you know what I mean, sexual child abuse, or whether it's you know what I mean, kidnapping, grape, robbery, you know what I mean, all of these different things, trafficking, prostitution. Your oppressor, you check the statistics according to the FBI, according to your oppressor's Federal Bureau of Investigation, it says that he is the spearhead of all the crimes that's committed in America. But they'll do all these things to you and they convince you that you're the problem. You ain't got no rest for your soul. Let your oppressor tell it. Let your oppressor rewrite your history and give you your history. You ain't got no rest for your soul. All right, but go ahead.
Khan, and ye shall find rest for your souls.
Mhm.
But they said, we will not walk therein.
And that's the problem with Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, where we see the tribulation, we see the poverty, we see the destruction that your oppressor does to Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. But we in the ISUK, we say come home, man. Come to the home of the truth. Come back to the old path, which is a good way. You know what I mean, we've been established since 1969. After there was a famine of truth in the world, man, where we didn't know who he was. We didn't know our history. We didn't know nothing about no Israelites. You know what I mean? But then 1969, the school was established, and and since then there's been breakoffs and breakoffs and breakoffs and breakoffs and breakoffs and all of that. And Commander General Yohana been telling you since the 80s to just come home, man. Just come home, come back, come home, and get some rest for your souls, man. But we constantly, we will not walk in. We want to be Christian. We want to be Kemet. You know what I mean? I don't know how hard. I don't know if you know who, what's his name? Side Netter is? I don't know. This hard-headed brother, man.
Like I seen some of his interviews.
Yeah, he been rocking with Captain Zarek for a little minute. But he's a hard-headed, stubborn brother. You know what I mean? That's how we all are. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Especially Christian pastors, especially if Christian Israelite group leaders, you know what I mean, the members, you know what I mean? We just stubborn. We just stubborn. We won't walk in the old paths, which is the good way. We won't get the rest for our souls out of being stubborn. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean, we're gonna get it right. That's why we come out and teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans week in, week out. You know what I mean? 7 days a week, online classes, we in the streets doing food drive, clothes drives. You know what I mean? When America won't feed you. You know what I mean? We teach you the truth. When America wants to lie to you and erase your history, like A Hammer, you know what I mean? He want to erase your history. That's why he come in here every week and tell you a new lie. He ain't even trying no more. These ain't even elaborate lies. Like, he just saying stuff. And that's the nature of your oppressor. They just say stuff. They just say stuff. And even though we got a wall full of, like, Vladimir Putin, he don't agree with you. You know what I mean? He don't agree with you. Vladimir Putin don't agree with you. You know what I mean? America does not agree with you. The earth doesn't agree with you, A Hammer. I mean, the earth agrees with us. The earth agrees with the Lord. The earth says the Jews are black. The earth says the white man is the devil. So, you know what I mean? The earth is against you. So, you know what I mean? Your oppressors, you know what I mean? A Hammer, all he can do is get in the chat and just say stuff. Exactly my point, dumbass. Vladimir Putin is a white man, and he says the white man is the devil. You see what I'm talking about? As if to illustrate my point. You know what I mean? The white man is the devil, and Vladimir Putin is a white man that agrees that the white man is the devil. And he agrees that the Jews are black, and Christ was a black man, and King Solomon, King David, everything that we saying that we've been saying all day. I know you're a little late. I know, A Hammer, you a little slow. I know, I get it. But I'm gonna try to help you out. I'm try to get you back up to speed. Yeah, but Vladimir Putin and the earth, Vladimir Putin, the earth, the Jewish man, you know what I mean? Your politician, they agree. You know what I mean? They agree that the white man is the devil the Bible speaks of, and the Jews are black, Hispanics, and Native Americans of antiquity. You know what I mean? Even the go ahead. Well, what you about to do? Don't worry about it. We'll do it at the end. You know what I mean? But that's what your oppressor does because they, you know what I mean, they know that their time is coming to an end. That's why your oppressor, that's why what's his name? A Hammer is scrambling to just say stuff in the chat. He just saying stuff. It's not even intelligent stuff. It's not even convincing. The lies that you telling ain't even convincing. It's just stuff. You're scrambling to tell lies. You're scrambling to try to, you know what I mean, to try to say anything that keeps blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans from discovering that the Lord is with blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and that we are his chosen people according to the Bible. You know what I mean? But that's the desperate. If I was you, A Hammer, I'll be desperate too. If I was Donald Trump, I would be desperate to get rid of, I mean, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. If I had to wake up every day and faced with what kind of piece of garbage I am every day, I would be flustered and be scrambling to get rid of people that make me look like a piece of garbage every day. I understand, A Hammer. I get it. I get it. You know what I mean? If I was in your position, I would be trying to get rid of the people who make me wake up every day. And even though we impoverished, even though we disenfranchised, even though we get mass incarcerated and mass deported, even though we get genocided, you know what I mean? We make your oppressor look like a piece of garbage that he is, even though he got a 400, 500 year head start uh when chattel slavery was so-called abolished in America and we was able to build our cities about a little over 50 years removed from slavery. We built Black Wall Street and Rosewood and, you know what I mean, black cities all over the world that was thriving while your oppressor was in a Great Depression. Yeah, I would hate blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans if I was you too. If the people that I, you know what I mean, tried to genocide and destroy off the face of the earth woke up every day to make me look like a piece of garbage that I am. So I understand why you feel the way that you feel, A Hammer. And I would say I pity you, but you know what I mean, it's the Lord. It's the Lord. And no matter what kind of pity I have or what any Christian has for you or whatever, you know what I mean? the Lord said that there will be no remaining of the house of Esau. So that's just, you know, what I mean, I would be flustered. I would be desperate to try to paint a narrative. I would be desperate to try to paint a narrative. And so I understand. I get it. And it sucks to be you. It sucks to be you. But we'll go ahead and get to what was we gonna go into? All right, let's go into the pictographs, or not the pictographs, the prepositions and possessives, real quick. And go ahead, just run through it real quick. You got it. You can go ahead and I will pull up a chair. I got it. I'll just. I'll just go. You just go right into it. Just a little bit of review, just to make sure. You know what I mean? Just to make sure you got this in your notes. You know what I mean? For brothers and sisters who might not be familiar, this might be your first Lashawn QADASH class, or I mean, you might be new to it or whatever the case is. Just get these in your notes so that you can have it. And this is gonna be the foundation. As a matter of fact, this is gonna be the foundation of the Hebrew right here. Like you see right there. You see right here. The Hebrew, the 4 steps of understanding the Hebrew is the 4 steps of understanding the Hebrew is being able to identify the root word, being able to identify the root word, being able to identify prepositions, which we're about to go over in a second, being able to read and identify possessives, and then being able to identify tenses, right? And that's a big that all of these 4 things are very simple, very easy to learn, but they're a big reason why the language is misunderstood by Christians and you know what I mean the Jewish man and I mean all of these different people who misunderstand and misinterpret the language. You know what I mean, just learning these 4 things. So if you learn these 4 things and understand these 4 things well, then you about I would say you're about 50% there in understanding the Lashawn QADASH. And then you just practice with these 4 things. And what time is it? Next week we're gonna go into we're gonna actually go into the scriptures. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, tomorrow during Sabbath service, we're gonna go into the scriptures and you'll see brothers reading the Lashawan QADASH. You'll see him reading the Lashawan QADASH. And what they're gonna be doing is just combining these 4 steps. So you might have a root word in the prayers, whether you're doing the prayers or you know what I mean, reading in the in Bible Hub or Blue Letter Bible or in the concordance. You have a root word, and then you might have a tense in the middle, the wa in the middle, or the ya in the middle, which is where you get shalom from. It's shalom, which is peace, and then the wa in the middle is talking about what you're doing, right? It's like a doing tense, or to understand it plainly, you start off by understanding just ing in English, right? So that's where you get shalom from, which is why saying shalom just as a greeting is incorrect. Because just like you wouldn't say peacing in English, you wouldn't say shalom in the Hebrew. It's shalom. You know what I mean? And as you read in Sabbath service, as you read a Sabbath service, you'll see several instances where uh, a root word might have a y in the middle, but when it's used in a certain way or when it's used and it has prepositions, possessives attached to it, a lot of times that y drops off. You know what I mean? Which is customary for Hebrew. Like when we speak in Hebrew, it's customary to just use the simplest version of the word, right? Just to avoid redundancy or confusion, right? But you'll see all of those things. And if you can understand these 4 things, root word, preposition, possessive, tense, you'll already be 50% solid with the language. All right. Let's go into these prepositions real quick. If I was you, I would pull that chair up so that yeah, so that you could sit down and be level with the. Go ahead, get started.
Kind of one con. So the first preposition that we have would be which means I or am. Okay. The next preposition would be ba.
So like yeah,
Which-
I is I or I am.
Oh, I am. So like
Con.
I or I am. Okay, the next preposition would be da, which is do or make. All right. Then we will have wa, which means the.
Or you miss one.
I mean, so like
Just change the Y to, you know what the is in Hebrew as a preposition?
the.
It's not Y.
Preposition is not wa. La.
It's ha.
Ha.
And what I recommend for brothers and sisters to do while we going over this is just try to commit this to memory. Commit all of these prepositions and possessors to memory. And the way that you do that is, I mean, you ain't got to do it mechanically. Like you can, like starting off, you can just read through them, take your notes. This is the first step. Put them in your notes, write them down, and understand them that way. But after you write them down in your notes, you don't got to do it so mechanical. Just read over them and try to memorize them like that. The best way to memorize them is to see it in practice. So being at Sabbath service, reading it, just reading Blue Letter Bible. And not only will you see these prepositions, possessives in practice, these root words and tenses in practice, but you'll be able to you'll be able to memorize each one. You'll be able to memorize each one. It's going to give you questions like, oh, based on those 4 steps that we just went over. So you'll be like, okay, if this is the root word and this is the preposition, this is the possessive, this is the tense, then you'll start to see other things and be like, okay, well, what is this about? And then you'll kind of be able to put together your own, uh, try to build your own kind of guess, for lack of a better word. You'll be able to build your own like hypothesis of what you think it might be based on what you already know, and then you can bring it to class and ask those questions to get clarity, and then that'll help you compound on your knowledge of the Hebrew. All right, so the ha is the, and it's a common one too. Ha is one that you use often. All right, like it's one that you see often. You not only will you see it often in the scriptures, but you'll see it in like in front of brothers' names. Like I don't know if you know this brother, but Officer Habana in Houston. And I said his name like that for a reason, because his name means the builder. Right? Ha means the, Bana means to build. So Habana means the builder. Or like Yahawashah Mashiach or Yahawashah Hamashiach. You might hear brothers say Hamashiach. But the reason why they're adding that ha to Mashiach is because Yahawashah Mashiach means uh Jesus Christ or the anointed, right? So Mashiach means to anoint. Ha means the. So Ha Mashiach. That's what brothers do. I can't remember if that's correct. Saying Ha Mashiach. I believe it's just Mashiach, like Yahweh Shai Mashiach. I believe that's the correct way to say it. I would have to ask a man above me just to confirm, but I believe that the correct pronunciation is just Mashiach. But people add the ha because it means the, right? But that's one that you'll see often, right? Which brings me to the next one, wa, which is you can just write it at the bottom. But wa just means you know what wa means as a preposition? And this is another common one too. Is one that we see often. Wa just means and. And. A-N-D. All right. All right. And you can go back to where you left off.
The next preposition that we have is Yah, which means he or it.
He, his, or it. But it's implied. You don't have to.
Okay, next we have Ka, which means as or like.
That's another. Ya and Ka is another one that's very, very common that you'll see often. Like what you'll realize, and this is why I said the best way to learn these prepositions and possessors isn't necessary to just, it's not necessarily to be mechanical about it and be like, ah is I, ba is in and on, da, do or make, ha, but he. It's not necessarily the best way to learn or to retain it. The best way to learn and retain it, you could start off just by knowing what they are, but the best way to be able to retain it is reading it in the Hebrew, because you'll see a lot of them. Some of them are used more often, and there are some that aren't used as often. Like we went over earlier, ah and da. Ah meaning I or I am, da meaning do or make. You'll see it being used in the scriptures, but a lot of times the ah is implied. Like the it'll start off with like anya. You'll see the word anya, which also means I. It's like the formal way of saying I. So you'll rarely see I being used as a preposition, or to just, since I is already implied, since it's like when you're saying something, you're saying like the scriptures will say, I am this, then the third. Like if the Lord is speaking, say I am the this, then the third, or if Christ is speaking, say I this, then the third. So it's already implied. And then when you talking, you won't keep saying, and I did this, and I will do that, and then, like it'll just be implied the way that our language is written. So you won't see that very often. You'll see it, but not very often, right? And then da as well is another one of those. Because there's so many different words that mean like do or work, to do or make or work. Like I believe malakath is a word that means work. Aisha is another word that means work. You know what I mean? Aisha, I believe his name Aisha Yala out of headquarters. Or the brother that just checked in earlier, Ma Aisha Ya. The root word of his name is Aisha, which means to do or make or work. Right? There's another word. It's another word. It's a couple of them, but there's so many different words that mean do or make that can be used instead of the preposition. Or just depending on the context. Like there's so many different ways to say I do. Like if you pour some water, you're doing something, but you're not saying I do pour some water. You're saying I pour. You know what I mean? Or if you like the instant, do you like the Frankenmurray? You're doing something, but it's not saying I do like the, for instance, the codes for the Frankenmurray. You're saying I light or I burn. So 9 times out of 10, when you're talking about doing something, you're just naming the thing that you're doing rather than just saying do. So a lot of times you won't see da being used. So it's one of those ones again that's lesser used, but when you see it, you'll be able to identify it if you know your prepositions. But the best way, like take that you mind taking that red marker and just underline ba, ha, ya, where we leave off, ka. Yeah, you underline ka. Those are going to be the ones that we went over so far. Those are going to be the ones that are used most commonly. And why? They're going to be used commonly. And there's going to be more. I'll tell you when. But those are going to be the ones that you are going to get the most familiar with. All right, go ahead.
Next we have la, which means to or from.
La, Salakia, la, as in, oh, you was about to say something, Salakia. I don't want to. Okay, no sweat. Well, and this is what you kind of want to do as well. Like, when you teaching, is kind of, yeah, just elaborate on like what you're seeing and what you're, you know what I mean, what you're seeing and what you're teaching and why it's important when you're going to see these things. Like give examples. Like for example, la, something that we say often, la yasharala. You know what la yasharala means? Go say it in the mic.
Israel, Salakia.
No, what you said first was correct.
To Israel.
To Israel, la yasharala. You know what I mean? Like when we see Leviticus 23, it starts off with Wayadabar Yahweh al Mashal la Amar, to say. La meaning to, Amar means to say or speak. All right. La Yasharala, La Amar, things like that. You'll see that often. That's good. You can underline that with the red as well. And that's gonna be one of the ones that's more common than the others. And then grab the green one. And these are just like the underlining. This is just something that I try to do to kind of help brothers and sisters to be able to identify these different prepositions, be able to separate. Like the red is the one that you're going to see most commonly, that you'll probably get familiar with quickest because of how commonly they use this everywhere. You're constantly going to be saying ba, in and on, ha, ya, ka, la. You're going to constantly see those before root words, or a combination of one or two or three, or one or two. I don't think I've ever seen three, but one or two of these in front of a root word. Now go to underline ma with the green. Now I'll explain in a minute. All right, go ahead.
Ma, which means of or from.
So ma is of or from. And the reason why I had you underline that ma is because the ma means of or from as a preposition. But when you see the ma in front of a root word, 9 times out of 10 it's used to build a completely new root word, right? Like I don't know if you remember from the what's it called, the what was it? What did we just go over last week? Pictographs. You know how to say water in Hebrew?
La.
Okay, no sweat. Go ahead.
La, I don't.
Okay, no sweat. It's one of the pictographs. Mayan. Or yum, mayum. Salakia, mayum. Right? You write mayum on the in that bottom space. Okay. So ma yum. And underline yum. So mayum means water, but if you take away the ma, you got a root word, the root word yum, which means sea, means the sea. Yum is sea. All right. Now you add the mayum with, just keep in mind that yum is sea. What does mayum mean? We know it means water, but what else does it mean when you break it down with the preposition and the root word?
Of water.
You said the preposition.
The preposition and the root word. So yum is the root word, meaning what?
Of sea.
Of or from the sea. Right. Where does water come from?
The sea.
It comes from the sea. So mayum from sea is water, because water comes from the sea. You get it? So that's why I had you underline that in green instead of the red, because it'll be one that you see often, but it'll be kind of, if to the untrained eye, you might miss it. It might be a little harder to recognize because you won't see it necessarily as a preposition. You'll see it just making a new word. And not only does this follow this rule 9 times out of 10, not every time. Sometimes you will just see it as a standalone preposition attached to a root word. But not only does this follow this rule, but go to the next one.
Which would be sha, which means which pertaining to.
So underline that with the green as well. Right. This follows the same rule as well. So when you see so now write sha in front of mayum. Now you write it in the blue, because I want you to be able to separate it. So sha mayum. So yum is the root word, right? Which is sea. Mayum is from the sea, or water, because water comes from the sea. All right. Sha mayum is pertaining to what's from the sea. What's from the sea?
Water.
So pertaining to water. What pertains to water? What has similar properties as water? You see the deep sea diver suit. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. You see the deep sea diver suit, right? And I don't know if you saw the movie Men of Honor. Oh yeah, I don't know if you, yeah, or Metal. I think it's Men of Honor, right?
Oh, talking about with
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah, kind of I seen it. Trying to be like the oppressor.
Yeah. Which that's crazy, because that just goes into what we was talking about earlier, where your oppressor takes away your identity, and then the only way for you to be able to build any type of reputation in this earth is to join your oppressor. You got to get your accolades from your oppressor. Ooh, there you go. This tab instead. Boom. Lock you. Yeah, you see that? That's the deep sea diver suit, the suit that you will wear in water. Now, what does this look like? Where else would you wear a similar suit to this?
So like to space.
Or biblically, it would be referred to as the heavens, right? So shamayim means, if you break it down with prepositions and root words, it's pertaining to water, or pertaining to what comes from the sea, right? But the root word that's built from shamayim is heaven, because the same properties that you see, the weightlessness, the lack of oxygen, the gear that you need to be able to survive in those that in that environment, it pertains, they pertain to one another. I mean, the properties of heaven pertain to the properties of water or the sea. Get the point?
Come, another one, come.
All right. You go ahead and finish the last couple. We're gonna get up out of here.
Next, we have the.
Tha.
Tha, Salaki. Tha. Which means. I can't even. Thou. Oh. Thee or thou.
Thou or thee. Now you'll see this pretty often. Yeah, you go ahead and underline it, as a matter of fact, in red. But this is gonna be one of the ones that you see often. Now, what is thou or thee? That's old English, thou or thee. But what does that mean in modern English?
That and thee.
No. Thou or thee. For thou art an holy people. What is that talking about? When you say thou art a holy people, what are you talking? Who are you talking to?
Israel.
Go to camp and pull this scripture. Who are you talking to?
Israel.
So if you was well, I'll just give it to you for time's sake. Thou or thee means you. When the Bible says thou art an holy people, it's Moses talking to the nation of Israel. He's saying you are a holy people. So when you see thou or thee in the scriptures, it's saying you in Old English. All right. You'll see that often as well. All right, with that, damn, A Hammer was a coward. Good night. Yeah, he done left out. But also next time I expect a little bit more steam out of you, A Hammer. You know what I mean? I was expecting a little bit more what's the word? Anyway, no sweat. We're gonna go ahead and close out right there. You know what I mean? Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share it with your loved ones. Make sure you A Hammer, you ain't doing enough sharing. You know what I mean? Get your I don't even know what you are, what you do. I'm starting to think that you I don't know, one of these nut Christian or these Christian Israelite groups. That's what I'm starting to think you are. But you know, who cares? Who cares who you are, A Hammer, or anybody that, you know what I mean, comes in and, you know what I mean, just decide that they want to be a consistent heckler. You know what I mean, who cares who you are? You know what I mean, but I got a sneaking suspicion that you just one of these nut, you know what I mean, these nut Christian Israelite groups that like to get pegged in they behind and try to, you know what I mean, touch children and things like that. But, you know what I mean, I guess we'll see. You know what I mean? Or we won't. Who cares? Who gives a damn who you are? But, you know what I mean? Make sure you like, share, subscribe, share it, like it, you know what I mean, on whatever platform that you on. And as we close the class, you know what I mean, you can hit that QR code, and morning, noon, and night, there'll be a brother in that chat to answer all your questions and solve all your problems. With that, we'll give a courtesy salute to the brothers. Shalom, Yahaba Shem, Yahushua Barakathon. And to the sisters, Shalom, Yeshamar, Shalom, Yahweh Shamar Latham, Bashim Yahushua.